Some people are born great, some achieve greatness, and some are just lucky. Luffy becoming an emperor at the end of Wano was great to see, but another character took all of my attention. Buggy was also now an emperor of the sea, but we soon learned about how he got there and all of it made sense. While we were following the Straw Hats, he was rising in the world through very unconventional ways and now is counted as one of the foremost powerful pirates in the world. And it makes sense considering all the things the world government sees in his resume. He was an apprentice to the Pirate King himself, a swan brother to Shanks and the leader of the Impel Down prison break, and now the leader of Cross Guild and has Mihawk and Crocodile working under him. It took the world government this long to acknowledge the threat of Buggy, but we saw it 20 chapters in. But we all know the truth about his accomplishments, so it is very weird to see him in this spread alongside all these other major players this late into the series. So I wonder, was Buggy always supposed to be this important? As much as we praise Oda for planning everything, he is also known to create new characters out of the blue who play major roles in the series. So I don't know how much of a role Buggy was going to play in his original plan for One Piece. And did Buggy have a place in this spread in his original ending to One Piece? I always found him to be a character Oda used to troll us.
Buggy!
But obviously there was more to him than I was led to believe. It's One Piece after all, and in true One Piece fashion, chapter 1082 gave us a flashback that made me rethink Buggy's character and his role in the series. Buggy's relationship with Shanks and Roger is what largely dictates his life. Since both Buggy and Shanks were apprenticed to one of the greatest pirates in the world, they had a lot to measure up to. Roger was like a mountain looming over them, and in Buggy's mind, one day they would have to fill the shoes Roger would leave behind. There were some massive shoes at that. Roger was 9 feet tall. It seemed impossible. But Shanks on the other hand showed so much potential that Buggy thought he would never measure up to it and he gave up. Instead, he decided he would help Shanks be Roger's true successor. All of this leads to what would be their last interaction together for a long time. At Roger's execution, Buggy tells Shanks that he should immediately follow in Roger's steps, but Shanks for whatever reason refuses and asks Buggy to join his crew, but Buggy refuses, thinking his faith was misplaced and that he had misjudged Shanks. And this is how they part ways. Buggy goes on to be a pirate in the East Blue, doing petty crimes and terrorizing small towns. Far cry from his days in the Roger Pirates, where they had regular encounters with the likes of Whitebeard. Yeah, Buggy definitely peaked early. Buggy was an apprentice to the Pirate King himself and had really the guy who would later train our main character to train him. But he gave up on his own dreams and ambitions and lost his own belief in himself, which is very tragic in the context of One Piece, where characters can destroy islands with their willpower alone. And that's the downfall of Buggy, from what he could have been to how we meet him next in the timeline, as a literal clown. Buggy's introduction and the arc in which he is the villain serve the purpose of driving home the idea of what a treasure is and how it can be very different for each individual. Things that may not have inherent value can be precious to us because of what they mean to us. A soap can be a treasure for a dog because that's what reminds him of his master. And even a straw hat can be more valuable than any amount of gold because it was given to you by the person you looked up to. Whereas for Buggy, gold and silver were valuable because, well, they were gold and silver. He was your typical pirate who values money over everything, but we now know Buggy's backstory, so let's revisit this with more context. Buggy doesn't have his own ambitions. He is in limbo, stuck doing piratey things for the sake of gold and the feeling of power over people. But unlike Bellamy, who doesn't have his own dream because he lacks the imagination to seek things that already don't exist, Buggy gave up on his own dreams for the sake of someone who ultimately disappointed him. Buggy placed his own expectations on Shanks and threw his own ambitions away to support him to reach those expectations, but when Shanks said,
"Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing,"
Buggy felt betrayed, and when he comes face to face with Luffy wearing the same hat Shanks used to wear, which was passed down to him from Roger, their captain, Buggy lashes out, damaging the hat. For Buggy, Shanks was Roger's true successor, but seeing that hat on Luffy meant that Shanks had decided to throw his own bets on Luffy. After deciding not to pursue on Roger's steps, Shanks had chosen Luffy to do so. This doesn't sit right with Buggy, and the fight, which began as a joke, becomes more personal. After this defeat, even if for revenge, Buggy is freed from the limbo he was stuck in and starts his pursuit of Luffy, which leads to Luffy's execution at Lockdown, which almost happens until Dragon decided it was too soon for One Piece to end. But as Luffy and the gang enters the Grand Line, Buggy also follows them there, where a new chapter of the adventures of Buggy the Clown begins. But now let's talk about our sponsor, World Economic Journal. If you want unbiased, unfiltered, uncensored news from all around the world, then I have the right newspaper for you. World Economic Journal rose to popularity after their truthful reporting of the God Valley incident and is now the most trusted newspaper in the world. So, if you want to stay informed without falling for propaganda, then subscribe to News Quiz today. You can use the code ThisIsBigNews to get the first month for free. Now back to the video. In the list of characters who want to be the Pirate King, Buggy's name also has been added. All these characters are vastly different with very different approaches, and two among them were very close to reaching Laugh Tale. My theory about Buggy's luck making him fail upward is when the Rosa pirates were about to go to Laugh Tale, he fell sick, which is the worst stroke of luck a person could have, so all of this Buggy's luck is life making up for it now. Shanks too stayed back to take care of Buggy, but now has decided it's time for him to get to the One Piece. So that means all the four emperors, Luffy, Blackbeard, Shanks and Buggy want the One Piece. But for the sake of this video, let's just focus on two of them with the combined IQ of 20, Monkey D. Luffy and Buggy the Clown. And I specifically want to talk about a moment in Marineford that truly highlights the difference between these characters. The moment I am talking about is Luffy's encounter with Whitebeard. This moment shows us why out of all the characters and their stories, we are following Luffy and his story. Until now, Luffy has faced enemies stronger than him and beaten them, but here, he is at the world stage with powerhouses like the Admirals who are capable of changing the terrain of entire islands. He cannot fight them. The previous arcs made that very clear, yet here he is standing in front of the strongest man in the world and boldly declaring that he will be the king of the pirates. This shows us the unbreakable will that he has to pursue his dreams. In Baratie, part of Sanji's arc was to come to terms with the fact that when you are pursuing your dreams, there will be things you need to leave behind, even if it may feel selfish to do so. One Piece values characters who take a leap of faith into the unknown in pursuit of their dreams. It values a strong and almost unreasonable belief in themselves that they will achieve their goals. In this fantastical world, the story values characters who dreams of castles in the sky and are willing to take the journey to see if they exist or not. And Luffy has all of those qualities. And another quality the story values that Luffy has is his determination to go through all the trials that will come in his way in his journey. In short, Luffy is unwilling to take shortcuts. All of this brings me back to the moment I was talking about. When he is standing in front of Whitebeard, the person closest to achieving the One Piece, and declaring that he will be the next king of the pirates, even though he is outclassed in every way by every big-named characters present. It reveals the nature of Luffy's journey in pursuit of his dream. He is not in this journey because he has found some great devil fruit power that will make his path easier or has some master plan to achieve his goals. He is doing so simply because he would rather be doing this than anything else in the world. And it is acceptable if he dies doing this, because to Luffy, that's what being a pirate is about. In contrast, we have Cross Guild led by Buggy, someone who no longer has ambitions because he gave them up, because he believed that he was not the one. And Crocodile, another pirate who after facing loss at the hands of Whitebeard, returned to paradise and started his scheme to get his hands on one of the ancient weapons so that he could speedrun the new world. And even Mihawk, who seemingly has achieved his dreams but is stuck in limbo until someone worthy comes along to challenge his position as the world's greatest. And even the pirates who follow Buggy are ones who have forgotten the reason they became pirates in the first place. And all of this makes Buggy's movement in chapter 1082 all the more impactful. After their executive meeting, he is hung from a hook and reminiscing about how it ended like this. He was in the Pirate King's crew and now is bullied by the King of the Monkeys and a guy with rabies. So in an attempt to regain his lost spark, he declares that he too wants to be the king of the pirates and gives a speech that inspires all of his followers, giving them the same spark he had lost. This brings a very real possibility that the guy Luffy defeated in chapter 20 to be the next pirate king. Now, is it going to happen? Probably not. I would not accept anyone other than Luffy to find the One Piece, but Buggy and the Cross Guild as a whole are one of the major players in the final saga, which makes me very excited for his future. And that's what being a pirate is about. Pursuing your dreams even if there is no certainty of success, or you don't have the potential to live up to someone's strength, or you aren't someone special chosen by destiny. You are pursuing them simply because that's your dream. Buggy is just a side character in a story with a cast of hundreds, and his story is told in the background through his appearances between sagas. And after piecing together his story, my appreciation for this character increased exponentially and made me realize that he's so much more than just a clown. He is just not the main character.